This is the House of Hockey podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network. Hockey is more than a game, it's a lifestyle. It's you, the diehard supportive fans, your favorite players who are on the team you cheer for, and the organization who supports them.
The companies that make your gear, bags, and beer league sweaters. The hockey moms and hockey dads, and everything else that makes this House of Hockey your home. Come on in. I'm Breezy.
And I'm Rae Rae.
And this is our house.
Welcome to a brand new episode of the House of Hockey podcast. This is episode 49. I'm one of your hosts, Rae Rae.
And I'm your other host, Breezy.
And we've got a pretty interesting guest on this week. We took it down the coaching, training, teaching the next generation of hockey players, new hockey players. And we interviewed Danny Heath, who has started a online training program called Project Hockey. And they're doing amazing things with this online platform. Everything from bringing in, former players, current players to come do special talks in their platform, training skills, teaching from everything from mental visualization tools to skills on the ice.
Yeah, and they also have a podcast, so they bring on current and former players as well. You'll hear Danny talk about that a little bit, and you'll have to check them out because they have a great podcast as well.
Yeah, and Danny played hockey for a long time, and so he knows what's going on, and you're going to hear his love and passion for the sport come through so strongly in his interview, like his gratitude for the sport and how important it is for him to give back to the sport, which is something that I think all of us strive for. And, when we're in the hockey community, as we are, we want to help and promote and share and do all of this for the sport that we all love, right?
Exactly. And the coolest thing about this, Danny was so nice to actually help us out a little bit. And we're going to do a little bit of a giveaway later this week. So on Friday, you're listening on Tuesday, hopefully, maybe once this comes out. But if not, on Friday, we're going to do a giveaway. Danny is giving away a half-year subscription to Project Hockey. And that's pretty awesome. So you get to take advantage of the app and all the coaches and all the amazing things that they're doing. So, and I think there might be some other portion to that giveaway that he may throw in there for us. So
yeah,
we'll keep that a secret. Yeah, maybe some swag. We'll see what happens. So
we'll see.
Stay tuned for that.
Yeah, make sure you're following us on social media on Instagram at House of Hockey Podcast. If you aren't already, those details will be there. There's some big news that Breezy is dying to celebrate and tell me all about. So what is happening? What is so exciting?
Oh my gosh, I am like jumping out of my chair. I saw this morning. My boy Roman Josi and his wife Ellie just welcomed their baby boy. And the coolest thing about this is they chose my favorite name of all time.
I thought you were going to say they named their son Breezy, and I was going to be like, what?
That would have been awesome. But no, that's like my favorite name, Luca. I love the name Luca. It's Luca James Josi. I was so excited. He looks so happy. It's just crazy. I love that guy so much. It's insane.
Luca James Josi, welcome to the world.
Yes, welcome, Luca. I don't know. I was super excited. I follow Ellie. She's really cool. If you don't follow her, she's awesome. She posts a lot about her health and wellness and food she eats and all this stuff, and her dogs. And she's honestly just a cool human being. Her and Yos are a good pair, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But what was I going to say about this? I don't know. I forgot. I'm so excited. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
New baby.
Yeah. So I follow Ellie, and she was stressing out because Roman is leaving on Sunday, we're filming this on Saturday. So Roman's leaving on Sunday. She was afraid that the baby was not going to be there on time, and he wasn't going to be there. So the fact that he was there when little Luca was born is awesome. So that makes things even better. And I just couldn't be happier for him. So I'm so excited.
Yes, I
I feel like I
think
know them. This is so weird.
it does. Like, we do have that feeling, and I'm sure people listening feel like they know us, right? Like, to
Yeah.
some degree.
Right.
It's such a weird time of when they share on social and we share,
Yeah.
that people feel like yeah, there's like some sense of knowing who they are. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's crazy how like complete strangers, and I'm sure like this is with athletes and celebrities and everything, but it's like it's weird how someone can mean so much to you in your life, but like you've never met them before. So it's like this is just so weird. Like I just can't wrap my head around it, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I love ramen so much.
That's how I feel about Britney Spears.
Right? Brittany.
You know
There's a
what?
lot of weird stuff going on with Brit.
Okay, so I finally had time to watch the New York Times documentary about her
Yeah.
and her
Yeah.
conservatorship, and I'm going to keep this short because I could really, um, I could do like a whole podcast. I love her. I
Yeah.
support her. I've always been an advocate for her, even in her darkest days. That like the
Yeah.
girl just was having a lot of mental health struggles, and that was
Hmm.
just not something that was talked about at that time.
Right.
Like today,
Yeah.
that mental health conversation is so much more part of society, and it's becoming more sort of normalized.
Hmm.
But anyway, it was very interesting to watch. Hashtag free Britney. I want that girl to be happy and healthy and well and performing
Yeah.
again and making new music and just like feeling her best self and getting to see her kids. And
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I don't
But
know
I
if
feel like I know her.
right. I feel like I've told you this before, but my sister-in-law's best friend works at a restaurant close by that Brittany goes to often. And I'm like, I'm always like, hey, so how is she in real life? Like, because like I grew up listening to her, obviously, and she goes, she doesn't talk. Her security guard has to talk for her. So like it just shows like something crazy's going on. But I don't know. I haven't watched the documentary yet.
It's good.
But
And speaking of Roman,
yes.
okay, so this video was reposted, I think, by the Preds, like a couple weeks
Oh,
ago, but
yeah.
we forgot to talk about it. And I wanted to talk about it because when Shea Weber and Roman Yossi were on the Preds, they did like an undercover prank video where they were dressed literally just as themselves and were standing in front of what's the arena called?
Bridgestone.
Bridgestone Arena,
Yeah.
interviewing fans like who's better looking, Roman or Shea, or like who's your favorite player on the Preds, and like they're doing the interview, like Roman Yossi is interviewing people, and nobody knew who they were, and I
Right.
was like, how is this possible? Like, how do you not know? Like, I would know if Patrick Kane dressed literally just as Patrick Kane in no fucking disguise whatsoever, no
Yeah.
mustache, no nothing. Like, I would know that Patrick Kane was interviewing me, especially if I was standing in front of the United Center. Like,
Right.
I would know who that was, and
Yeah.
I would probably be freaking out. But like,
Yeah.
wouldn't you know if Roman Yossi was interviewing you and you were in front of Bridgestone?
Absolutely.
Like,
There's
you
no
wouldn't be
I mean, I feel like
confused.
I could spot him out in a crowd. I feel like I could spot a lot of players out in a crowd with like no disguise and whatnot. But there's a lot of players I wouldn't know. Just
True.
'cause that's just what it comes down to. But I mean, if you're a hockey fan, you probably know the players, you know the team, you know certain things about them. I feel like sometimes maybe in the moment, like if you're unexpecting, like, oh well, why would this guy be out? Like, there's no way like he would be out here doing the interview. But at the same time, you'd be like, okay, well, I'm not that dumb. I might be dumb, but I'm not that dumb. I
Like
could,
they were hiding in plain sight. Like they were
yeah,
not disguised at all whatsoever.
yeah, right.
And
And it's
their faces are on a giant sign
yeah,
plastered on Bridgestone Arena behind them. So like
yeah,
they're stars. Like if you follow hockey or the Preds, like you would know who they are. Like I would
yeah,
recognize Seabrook or Keith,
yeah,
and Kane and Taze. Like now some of the younger guys, the newer players, probably not.
yeah.
So, like, you know, we would definitely. I can't say that I could. If you did like flashcards with me of like
Yeah.
all the faces of the Blackhawks on the current roster, like I probably wouldn't get all of them.
Yeah.
I would say at least half.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of new faces, and I haven't been like actively studying
Yeah.
their face, right? Like I know
Right.
might know their name and where they play on the line, but like if
Uh-huh.
I had to identify them in a lineup, it would definitely
Yeah.
be harder.
It's
I
funny.
think
I had a cousin who's up in Toronto. He's a diehard Kings fan, and he was visiting out here one time. It's not my story to tell, but I'm just tell it anyway because they're not going to come tell it for us. He was staying at an Airbnb in Manhattan Beach, which is, if no one knows, that's where pretty much all the Kings live. And one of my best friend, who's my sister, Amanda Tomzak, uh, she, it's technically like her cousin. I'm just a cousin by blood, or not by blood, by
by
association, I
proxy,
guess.
yeah.
Yes. So she was staying with them in Manhattan Beach, and they ended up going to Target because they needed to get some stuff. And Chad, who's diehard, absolute diehard, like a fanatic, like a freak, he turns the corner and he sees Nick Shore, who was on the Kings. I think he's currently playing in Winnipeg, but don't quote me on that. He was like fourth line guy, like, no, it's just Shoresy, like he's just a guy. And he sees him. And I remember them telling the story that he was like, oh my God, it's Shoresy. He's getting some toilet paper. Oh my God, he's a real human. It was just funny. But anyway.
See, yes, I think that's a great story that explains the breadth of hockey fans.
Yeah. And this was pre-COVID. Like COVID wasn't even a thing yet. So he was stocking up on toilet paper before it was like a thing that he needed to actually do.
I feel like we should ask Shore is like, why were you stocking up on so much toilet paper, bro?
Yeah.
Like, what's
I
happening?
actually think that if I remember the story correctly, he ended up seeing Chad and was like, "Oh my God, like this guy is like freaking out over me." And so he started to like avoid them in the aisles, and Chad's like chasing him, but like he keeps like turning his back. I
It's
don't know.
funny.
It's too funny. Yeah, it's funny.
I don't know what I would do. I mean, we've talked about our interactions with celebrities and how we
Yeah.
approach people and stuff, but like if I saw somebody in the wild, like let's just go with like if I saw Patrick Kane at the grocery store, like my first instinct would be we got to get him on the pod. Like I got to go up to him and be like, "Hi, I have a podcast. We want you to come on the podcast." Cuz like my mind goes into producer mode
Yeah.
first. And then
Right.
second would be fan. I would be like, "Oh my God, I just want to like tell him like I love watching you play. Congrats on the baby." Because again, it's that feeling we were just talking about of how like
Yeah.
we feel like we know them. Like
Right.
Kaner just became a dad and had a baby. Like I would want to just say something, but as I have discussed here on the show, the Steve Carell incident, I flub all the words and they come out all kinds of wrong when I try to talk to these people in real life,
Yeah.
which is ironic because we talk to all kinds of people on this podcast, and I do in
Yeah.
my other day job, and I don't have any issue.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. I'm sure there's some psychological definition for like why we think celebrities we know them, but either
Yeah.
way. Like if you saw, what would you do? Like what would you do if you saw Austin Matthews at the grocery store? Like how would your brain process that?
I don't know. I'm weird when it comes. I think I just been around a lot of like, I don't want to say like I've been around a lot of celebrities, but I technically have. Like I've worked
Yeah.
with a lot of them, so it's like I don't really get starstruck or anything like that. So if I saw Austin, like I'd probably just be like, "What's up, man? Congrats on the win" or something. Like I wouldn't like make it weird. Like I don't know,
But
but
you
I'm not
would
like a
say
picture
something.
taker. Maybe, yeah. Or like if I made eye contact, maybe I'd give him like a thumbs up or "What's up, dude?" Like a head nod or something, because that's just me. That's just what I do. I've had a lot of run-ins where I'm just like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" Like
Right. Like the
like I
Miley
know who
Cyrus
you are.
story.
Like I know who you are, and you know that I know who you are. You don't know me, but it's just like that subtle nod, like, yeah, I see you, like, what's up, like, how's it going? But like not making it awkward, I guess. I don't know. But
And then
that's
I
just me.
And then you would tell me this story, and I would be like, "How come you didn't ask him to come on the podcast?"
I would be like, well, I gave him like the nod, like
Like, no, we got to make cards. You got to print out a card.
exactly.
Did you tell him I hate his fucking bucket hats? Like, did you say anything? And like,
Like, oh, red bell peppers? I personally like the yellows. Like, what do you say?
sweeter. They're sweeter.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh my God, no.
Too funny.
That's how that would go.
Yeah.
An unpopular hockey opinion. And I love this guy. I love Tortorella, Coach Torts, for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I've talked about how much I just love his personality, and he makes press conferences fantastic. And he's giving us something to talk about here on the podcast because he benched Patrick Laine seemingly for no reason. This star player that they just got, he put the kid on the bench, and people were like, what the fuck? You know, because it's like, but my thought is, of course Torts did that. And what Torts had to say about why he did it was that it wasn't because of a quote, and I quote, it wasn't because of the missed assignment. There's a number of things that come into play with that. That'll stay in the locker room. So I know Torts treats everybody the same, right? Like, you have to earn his respect and his trust. And just because you're Patrick Laine does not mean that you get the start just because you fucking join the team. You've got to prove it and own it. And I think Torts has a lot of locker room and rules and structure and things that we'll never know until he retires and we beg him to come on the podcast. But I it is an unpopular opinion that he should not have benched Laine for whatever reason, but I actually support Tortorella and his methods that might seem maddening to people, but I think that creates the team atmosphere. Like, you know, he's very much about the team, and everybody has to participate and play and get along. There are no stars because Tortorella is the star, and we all know that.
Very
What do you
true.
think?
I agree with you. I think that just because you are a hot shot, you know, I'll say a hot shot, just because you're the hot shot, you're the new guy on the team. No big deal. You're the number 2 draft pick, blah, 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 blah. Like, just because you're good doesn't mean that you are deserving to play. I think that there are a lot of good players that are deserving of play, like our friend Curtis Gabriel, who's getting his start
Yes!
today on the Sharks.
We're so happy for you, Curtis.
There's a lot of good players who deserve to play and who put in the work, but they just haven't had the opportunity yet. And why should some guy be able to, just because he's so good, so talented, he's new on the team, this and that, why does he get priority to play if he's slacking off in other areas? Like, give the guys who are pushing hard an opportunity to fill in and, you know, get their spots. So I agree. Yeah. And congrats, Curtis. Well deserved. Super excited for him.
Yes, he's playing in the first official home opener for the San Jose Sharks in San Jose because they had started their season at home. Their home arena was in Arizona because the county in which they play in California wasn't allowing any physical contact, or like, what was the phrasing?
I don't remember, honestly.
The
Bay Area,
the Bay Area
contact is on their own terms. I'm just going to say that.
They are. No, that's not the right word, but it's not coming to me, so fuck it. But either way, congrats to our boy, our friend of the pod, and we're so happy for you. I know he's going to bring it, and he's worked hard to earn that spot on the team, and it's well deserved.
Yeah, and we actually were going to record this portion of the episode at game time, so we decided to push it up a little bit. I'm going to watch the Sharks game. It's Sharks versus the Knights. I don't normally watch Sharks games or Knights games for obvious reasons, but I'm going to watch it because I'm going to be supportive of our guy, and I'm so excited to crack a beer for him.
Oh, Yes, I am excited for him too. So cheers to you. Here's another unpopular hockey opinion very quickly.
Okay.
The Golden Knights, since you brought them up, their
Uh-huh.
old gold chrome helmet, people
Uh-huh.
were saying they looked like C-3PO from Star Wars. Is that the right
It's
character?
true. It's true.
Um, it kind of was a lot, like all together, like when you
They're
saw them.
flashy. I mean,
Yeah,
they're a flashy team, so I could see where it would work, but it's a little bit of an overkill.
it was a little too much for me because in comparison, your Kings have that like chrome helmet, which that I thought looked really cool because of the black, but it was something about that gold and like the gold color of the uniform, like the
Mm-hmm.
jersey. It was like a little like I don't like it, and that's
Yeah.
that's all I can say. I
Well,
don't like it.
The Kings wore the chrome when they did the outdoor game in
Right.
Colorado, which had to do with like the whole Air Force thing. It was so long ago. Please forgive me. I don't know the details, but it had to do with the whole Air Force thing. So
That's
they were
right.
kind of like playing like a heritage on that, and then they ended up wearing it for a home game one time because they brought back the jerseys. But it'd
Yeah.
be cool to bring back the chrome helmets. I thought they were pretty sick.
But the gold and the knights, it just didn't work. It worked individually, but when you put the
Mhm.
like you looked at the whole team, it was like what? No,
It's like
no.
someone just vomited gold
Yes.
everywhere. They full on Kesha'd the Golden Knights. So
Yeah, and not like you can do gold correctly, but I
yeah,
think that just it wasn't working for me. It just
no,
wasn't working
mm-mm.
for me.
Nope, not working.
This week's episode of the House of Hockey podcast is brought to you by
Looking to spice up your sex drive and your love life? Try Libido Drops for women. It's formulated to enrich your sexual response, arousal, and lubrication. Libido Drops are healthy and organic. Just add a few drops to water each day. Try Libido Drops with no risk, complete satisfaction guarantee, or your money back. Order your bottle of Libido Drops for women now at libidodrops.com.
And we have a promo code for all of you House of Hockey podcast listeners. You will get 10% off your first order when you visit libidodrops.com. In the checkout, in the coupon code, enter hockey10. That's hockey10 for 10% off your first order of Libido Drops. Go to libidodrops.com. Our podcast is proud to be on the Hockey Podcast Network, and the network is home to many other incredible podcasts, including this one.
You know what? I'm just so heated because of what you're telling me, because I do not want to live in a world in a world where a craft dinner is the fucking substitute to a good macaroni. You're putting powder.
No. Macaroni, as you call it, is a substitute for KD.
God. Oh my God! Go to Italy.
If you
Crack
ask,
open some fucking craft dinner.
no. If you ask any Canadian, would they rather have macaroni or KD? They will tell you KD is the best. It is superior. It is the fucking national treasure, and it is the greatest dish in Canada. I'm Mason Dixon, a Habs fan stuck in Leafs country, with my co-host Corey, a southern beauty trapped deep in the bayous of Louisiana. With over 2,500 kilometers of separation, we still managed to come together to give you Habs Nightly, your hub for Habs content.
While I don't know what a kilometer is, I do know Habs hockey. Don't let the 10-year age gap or distance fool you. We bleed Blue Blanc et Rouge, and we're known to serve up hot takes along with our unique charm.
Join us every Monday and Thursday for hockey talk, ref rage, and your daily dose of Southern ignorance. Only on the Hockey Podcast Network. KD is the superior macaroni and cheese.
Get the fuck out of here. You put ketchup on your fucking macaroni, you nasty kid?
Yes, I fucking do.
This has been Habs Nightly. You guys have a great one.
Let's throw it over to our guest this week, Danny Heath. He is a teacher by day and by night. Literally, he is a PE teacher during the day. He absolutely loves it. He coaches at nighttime. He is the founder, I believe, of Project Hockey. And so he's also a coach there. He's played hockey. He also talks a little bit about the time he got a busted face. So you're really going to like that. He's originally from Arizona, so he's good friends with our friend Lindsay Fry on the podcast. So Arizona boy turned Minnesota boy, and here he is, Danny Heath.
You know, we like to hear how you describe yourself and what you do with hockey.
For sure. Yeah, so I was born and raised in Glendale, Arizona, so not too far from you guys. That's where I played my youth hockey. That's where I got my start. I started off with inline hockey, and honestly, I would probably have never switched to ice hockey if you could have gone to the NHL of roller, or if you could have gone to college hockey of roller. I would have stayed with it just because that was like, it's probably, I mean, I still love it more than the ice game because I don't know, it's just something I started off with. So it was like my baby of sports, I guess. But yeah, I grew up playing my youth hockey in Phoenix, made the jump to ice hockey like last year of Squirts, first year of Pee Wees. And then from there on, I got kind of lucky. I got stuck with a few good coaches in Arizona. One was Jimmy Johnson, who played in the National Hockey League for many years. And the other was Ulf Samuelsson, who played in the National Hockey League for many years. And so both their kids were my age, and just got stuck on that team and played with them growing up. And then from there, I went on, played in the USHL for a few years, and then played my college hockey at Minnesota State University, the most winningest school in the last 6 years. I got to toss that in there. Go Mavericks. And yeah, that's kind of how I got my start. I wish there was some cool, like, you know, my family played, but my brother started it a little bit. My mom, who is Canadian, she never played the game, and so she loves it now, I think, because the boys were super into it. But yeah, it's kind of how I got my start, is kind of right when the Coyotes came into town, and it kind of sparked our generation of hockey players.
Would you say growing up in Arizona that you're more of a Coyotes fan, or did you transfer over to a Wild fan, or are you not fans of either team?
No, I'm so I was a Coyotes fan my whole life. But then after college, I met my wife at college, got married. I would love to live in Arizona, but never going to pull a Minnesota girl out of Minnesota. So we are happily married in Minnesota, and I do love it. It's a state of hockey, but as soon as we bought a house, I swore all my allegiance to Minnesota sports teams. And so it's tough, but the Wild are okay this year. It's got some ups and downs. And so, yeah, definitely a Wild fan this year. And it's hopefully we make a cup run here soon. Minnesota sports they break your heart a lot. And so it's been it's probably been 4.5, 5 years now that I've been a Minnesota sports fan. So it's been a tough 4.5 years for sure.
It's been a little stale on the championships, right?
Yeah.
The Lynx are good. That's our team.
It's the Minnesota Gophers is the really popular, right?
Yeah, no,
not the Gophers.
That's our. I wouldn't call them popular, but they're good this year. Yeah. So Minnesota Gophers. I mean, Minnesota has, what do we got? Minnesota Gophers, Minnesota State University, Mankato, the Mavericks. That's where I played. Duluth, Bemidji. St. Cloud. I think that's it. So 5 Division I hockey teams all in one state, which is pretty unique. And I think at one time they were all in the top 10, which is crazy. And so it's crazy. Kids in Minnesota don't know how lucky they have it, especially growing up in Arizona, where, I mean, the closest rink was like an hour away from me. And like literally I can look outside right now and there's two rinks outside, outdoor rinks that take my 3-year-old daughter skating on all the time. And it's like, it's crazy. And there's hockey everywhere, teams everywhere. It's a different world here. And the cool part about Minnesota is, and I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with like the high school hockey scene, but it's the kids play up through Bantams and then they go and they play for their high schools, which is crazy when you think of like in California, like that's not a thing, right? Kids play travel hockey, AAA hockey, AA hockey, and here these kids play in for their high schools, and then the state championship game, I kid you not, is played where the Wild plays at the XL, and it's 18,000, 17,000 people there to watch it. It's like
That's
insane.
the one where, like, if people don't follow the sport, but they follow on social media, where the guys all come out with the flow, with the hair, and they all do something crazy when they're announced, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We made it to
That's that.
That's them, yeah. We made it to the state championship in 2015, I think. And yeah, we had some kids that made the hockey hair team, which was a big deal.
Yes, the
That is a
hockey
big deal.
hair team. And didn't somebody totally wipe out recently?
There's usually one a year that they take a hard fall skating up, and
Is that on purpose?
I think some of them are. I mean, I don't know for sure. whatever gets you on the jumbotron a little longer, I think they're willing to do it. So
Hockey guys in it for the laughs always, right?
absolutely,
Like they're always in on the joke. No way that just like randomly happens.
yeah, but
For real.
it was good. But yeah,
So tell
Isn't
us.
it,
Go ahead.
Sorry, it might be a rumor, but I heard that college hockey and high school hockey is generally more popular than like the Minnesota Wild games.
In Minnesota.
yeah, I would say. I mean,
In Minnesota, yeah.
yeah. Well, high school hockey for sure. High school hockey is like, it's the craziest thing in Minnesota. Like,
Wow.
I mean, back when there was fans, obviously, but now it's craziness. So we won't count that. But like, it's insane. Like some of the games where you get rivalry games. Like we live in a small town. I live in Mankato where the university is, and there's 2 high schools here. And when it's West versus East, it's craziness. Like it is jam packed. It's loud. It's insane. I can never grow up in Phoenix. We never had that. Like it was your mom, dad was at the rink watching you play, maybe a cousin coming to watch it because they're in town or something. But here it's crazy. Like these kids are a big deal walking around school, and it's cool. It's fun. It's awesome for the kids. And college hockey is another step, obviously. And the Gophers have kind of been up and down the last few years. They're really good this year. And so they're a huge buzz right now. And yeah, but then on the flip side, the Wild have not have a sold out crowd in like 15 years or something. So it's like, I don't know, it's just all hockey all the time. It's cool for me because I love hockey, but sometimes I think my wife is kind of gets sick of it, but that's all right. She's getting there.
Does she play?
No, she doesn't. No, she just she puts up with it. We watch, it's on the TV a lot. But yeah, she'll play with our daughter just downstairs, little mini sticks, but nothing too crazy.
Tell us about Project Hockey then. Like what are you doing with hockey currently? Tell us about that and training and what that's all about.
I'm kind of all over the place. My full-time job is I'm actually a full-time PE teacher here in Minnesota, and doing that online has been a nightmare, but it's been
What are
good.
you even
Yeah.
doing?
Nothing much. We do some stretching, some yoga, some things like that. Nothing too crazy. But I love it. 1, because it's awesome, and 2, because it allows me to do hockey stuff. And I believe in the game of hockey so much. Like it paid for my college. It helped me meet my wife. I feel like it's done so much for me. And so a few years, once I was done playing, I actually had to stop playing hockey my sophomore year. Took too many hits to the head. I got like my 8th concussion in 3 years or something like that. And it was like getting to the point where just too much. So I stopped and I started coaching, and I kid you not, 3rd game in or something like that, I was on the bench coaching the high school team, and I took a puck to the mouth, shattered my jaw, was wired shut for 8 more weeks. And it was like, can't stay away from those hockey pucks. And so it was, that was an interesting experience. And that was right around Christmas time. So you're like all these awesome holiday food. Good thing is I love eggnog. So I was able to work that through my wires, but it was crazy, but can't get enough of hockey. So I stuck around, and I'm just trying to give back as much as I can and help as many hockey players as I can. And that's why, that's where the project comes from Project Hockey. And I mean, I do a lot of camps, and I do some of the skill work here for Minnesota State, like the university here, but project hockey is. And it started because I was that, like I said, I was that kid from Phoenix, Arizona that I would literally run home and be like, Mom, how do I get better at hockey? I'm tired of getting beat by all my friends. These California teams are coming over and beating us. And it's like, how do I get better? And she'd be like, Danny, I don't know how to play hockey. Just take your little stick thing and get out of here and go stick handle. And I literally take my stick and my golf ball, go stick handle in the kitchen, end up breaking something of hers. And she'd be like, you're done with hockey for the day. Have a great night. And so that was like my at-home hockey training back then. And just wasn't very good. And so I wanted, and of course I was doing everything at the rink and shooting and all that stuff with the coaches, but
You telling me you weren't in the backyard with Austin Matthews, like doing inline and stuff like that? Like that's what everybody automatically thinks right nowadays when they hear Arizona and
right?
Hockey. But
yeah.
Go ahead.
No. Yeah.
You weren't melting outside in 110 degrees on the pavement where your puck's melting and the tape on your stick is melting. Right. Like
it gets too hot. It's too hot there.
Yeah.
I don't know if Austin was in Arizona when he was floating those Mars blades around, but yeah, but we definitely played outside. But yeah, like I said, I played in the USHL and then was done playing at college, and I just wanted to get back and find a way. And so I think it was about 3 years ago, we started to launch what's Project Hockey. And basically, in a nutshell, Project Hockey is a at-home training app for kids. And like I said, we were around pre-COVID a long time ago because the local associations just needed help because not every association, not every coach in the association played hockey at the highest level in the world. And so what can we do for them? Like they worry about on ice stuff. And then Project Hockey was something that they could literally click and be like, here's what you're doing for off ice. And they could start to assign it for kids and things like that. And so it took off half of their work, right? And they could just focus on the on ice product. And it kind of started to evolve where we're at now. Like we're working with over 60 youth hockey associations where we have a lot of members that take part in Project Hockey. And it's pretty cool. Like the kid logs into the app and it's basically like the Facebook for hockey players. Like we have mindset videos there. We have hockey IQ stuff where we're breaking things down in there. We've got skill set sessions. We've got daily challenges. It's really cool what we do. And we just signed Maddie Rooney, who's the U.S. Olympic goaltender. She's one of our coaches. Like we have a goalie side and a player side. So we have training for both, and it's really cool. Like we work with a ton of different coaches from around North America that put content in the app. So any day you can be getting coaching from an NHL hockey player all the way, to a college hockey player. It's really cool what we're doing, and it's fun. And we've been reaching out to associations since COVID hit, and just been trying to give our program away for free. And hey, take it for 2 months, whatever. Usually we give it to associations for 2 months totally for free. And it's been awesome. It's just, like I said, it's called a project because our whole goal with it is to leave the game better than we found it. And so any way we can help different associations, especially now with COVID, it's been fun. And we've seen a lot of kids get better at hockey during this time, which is something that you wouldn't have guessed if you told us we were going to be in the middle of a pandemic for almost a year now.
That's awesome. What would you say is a small little tip for aspiring players? What's like something that they could do daily that would make them better that like you wouldn't normally think of that would help you?
Other than Project Hockey? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Exactly.
Man, that's a great question. I think like the obvious answer is like, you can be stick handling. There's always something you can do that other kids aren't at home. Cause I think the game has gotten so big now that like everybody is at the rink skating all the time. Everybody is at these like dry lane facilities and shooting and doing these things. And our big motto at Project Hockey is just, you got to do the work. Like you can have as much fancy equipment as you want, but if you're not willing to put that work in, I think it's you're obviously not going to get the reward. And I think I kind of take a different approach where you need to be grateful. Like hockey is a very special game. And I think it's the only game that actually mirrors life in many ways. Like you get knocked down, you either get back up or it's going to keep going. Like it doesn't just stop for you. It's not like, I know nothing against football. Trust me, I was up late watching the Super Bowl last night, but you get knocked down there, you reset and you try again, where in the game of hockey, it's a lot different. And so be grateful to it, do good to the game of hockey, and it will do good to you, whether that's like thanking your coach when you get off the ice. And it may not seem like it's making you a better hockey player, but I can guarantee it's making you a better person. And that's usually the good people in the game of hockey are the ones that have the most success, and then the most competitive as well. I think the game, if you look at the best players in our game, right, like Hillary Knight, Matty Rooney, you got, I mean, Jonathan Tate. I mean, the list goes on and on. Like the top players in the NHL, and on the women's side, they're competitive, right? Mm-hmm. And so what can you do every day to compete and get better? And there's many ways to do that. And so I think those would be the biggest ones, is like be grateful and compete at everything, and you're going to have success in the game of hockey.
Okay, but how did you turn getting your jaw broken when you got hit by a puck into a grateful moment? Because there's moments, right, that are really, really tough in hockey, and there's things that happen that you don't expect, and just like in life. So how was the positive the eggnog, or?
I do love it. No, I think honestly that was tough. I mean, I think the biggest thing was that was like right before my daughter was born, and so then she was born, and I got like extra time with her, and so kind of like that was really cool, because I didn't have to rush back to work and things like that, and so that was huge. And then I don't know, it allowed like at that time in my life, I was like just getting done with college, I was flying around, moving too fast, and it slowed me down a little bit. Whereas like, hey, you might need to look around and be grateful for what you have. And I mean, that puck was flying at my face, and it could have hit somewhere else and been a lot worse. But you know, it was what it was, and they actually ended up putting my teeth back a little bit straighter, so I can't argue with that either. So
hey, free braces, yeah.
Not bad. It's not bad, but yeah, it was that was a scary moment. But it was, and it happened in the tiny town in Minnesota, and so it was a long ambulance ride all the way back to the city, and it was crazy, but it was something I'll never forget, I guess. That's for sure.
Yeah, we're always looking when we talk to guests for a reason why hockey and the fans and the community are just so invested and committed and friendly and kind and giving. And I think your answer, what you just said, was the first time that something was like, oh yeah, hockey really is like a real life experience out there.
It is.
And that's not something you can really teach. You just experience it in hockey. There's no other option. You have to get up. You if you don't, you're gonna sit your ass on the bench, you know.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very unique game, and that's why like I got to give back to this game as much as I can, because I feel like I've taken a lot, but it's the greatest game in the world, and so we're all lucky to be a part of it. That's for sure.
Do you have any fun stories from kids or coworker, coaches, or anything like that?
I got a few. I mean, there's a billion stories, right? I mean, I didn't play the game forever, but I played it for a long enough time. But our biggest holiday in junior hockey was always April Fool's Day. Like that was our favorite holiday, and especially so I played in Tri-City, which is in the United States Hockey League, Tri-City Storm, which is in the middle of Kearney, Nebraska, which is smack dab in the middle of the country, which is my
I didn't know there was hockey there. Is that bad?
But like my graduating class in Phoenix, where I went to high school, was over 1,000, and then I went here for my senior year to Kearney Senior High School, the home of the Bearcats, and there was like 45 kids in the class. I was like, where am I? How did I end up in Nebraska? But it was awesome. I loved it. Wouldn't trade it for the world. Played there for 2 years, and then I got traded to Des Moines. Played there for a season. I actually got to play for JP Parisi, which was awesome. It was the year before he passed away, and so like some of the stuff he did, and he's just so smart. Like you understand why he played at such a high level and why he's one of the greatest to ever do it. So that was a cool experience. But the story on April Fool's Day, we were already out of playoffs. Like our team wasn't very good. And so we were just trying to find a way to have some fun. And we had this kid in our team. His name's Alec Rush. He was going to Princeton. He's committed to go to Princeton. Super smart guy, awesome hockey player, awesome kid, Minnesota kid. We knew the local sheriff, and so we had him come in to the locker room with one of those dogs that sniff out drugs, right? And so we let it was like me and I was the only one that was in on it, and then our coach. I was like, hey, this dog's gonna come in here, start sniffing around, and pull Alec out and basically arrest him. And so he the cop came in. He's like, where's Alec Rush? And he's like, I'm right here. He's like, we found some traces of cocaine in your car. My dog sniffed it out. You need to come with me right away. And he's like in half gear, like we're getting dressed to go out to practice. And he's like, what? Like, and so then he starts to talk to like his buddies, like that were sitting by him. And all of a sudden the cop's like, shut up. Like, you need to come with me right now. It started to get like really serious. And like, I had no idea, but like apparently the living situation, he had some real concern that he was like, oh, maybe my billet dad or someone put something in my car. And so now he's starting to like freak out. And the cop's like, you need to get over here right now. And then one of the kids from across the room yells, oh, I guess you can kiss that Princeton scholarship goodbye. And then all of a sudden he starts to lose, like he starts crying, and the cop's like looking at me. He's like, when are you going to pull the plug on this thing and be done with this? I'm like, no, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. And so he turns around and puts handcuffs on him and starts walking him out the back door. And like he goes down the hallway and starts to leave. And then basically I told the team at that point, I was like, hey, this is an April Fool's joke. Let's all jump out. And like, so then we all jumped out of the locker room, like April Fool's. And it was a big a big sign of relief for him. But I don't know, probably let that one go a little too far. But I think, yeah, it was hilarious. But that was, I don't know, just something to do to kill the day, I guess. But it was
that's pretty funny.
Yeah,
that is funny.
That's a hardcore commitment when you're like,
yeah,
we knew the sheriff, so
bring him in. Yeah, there was another one where we would always have like if we ever had like media stuff to do, we'd have like a little slip in our locker that was like, hey, come do this. And I wasn't part of this, but basically the couple of guys put slips in all the locker room, like, hey, photo shoot after practice, just in your gym shorts for this calendar thing. And they like, these guys were like, they bought into it. Like they're in there doing push-ups and getting cut for this photo shoot. And
like putting baby oil on, like
they're loving it. And they get out there and they like back them up to the boards and they're doing these photo shoots. And then a couple of the guys came and poured like cold water on them and ice cold water. And April Fools, it was they were getting into it. I think they thought they were going to be on a big calendar, but it was funny. That was a good one. But I guess that's what you do when your team is out of playoffs and you got nothing but time on your hands. But it's fun. It's a great experience.
Do you teach pranks in Project Hockey? Is that like a subcategory?
Yeah, that's extra. That's the paid. No, it's we should talk about it. I think it's cool. And they were all the comp one was a little too far, but it was controlled and it was fun. And Alec, he was a good sport when it was all done. Plus he went from thinking he was going to jail to a fun day. It was funny. It was funny, worth it, but couldn't have done it to a better guy too.
Oh gosh. I don't know if I like being pranked. Do you like being pranked, Breezy?
I think it just depends on what it is. Like if it's something that like I feel like I know I'm being pranked, I can go along with it. But like if I'm sitting there like, holy crap, like this is not fun. Like I don't know if I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think anybody's. Oh, I shouldn't even say it. I shouldn't even put it out there. We're just gonna leave it at that. Yeah, the pranks are.
It's part of the game.
It's part of the game.
You've got to make sure you're on the right side of it, or
yes.
Not get too crazy. But
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
So what else we've talked to a couple players who have brought up mindfulness and sort of like visualization and like their own version of a meditation and incorporating that into their game and part of their routine. What is your theory on that? And how do you teach players and people who are part of Project Hockey that side?
Yeah, we do a lot of that stuff. We're lucky enough to have Lauren Williams on the staff, who she played at Wisconsin. You guys should have her on the podcast. She is awesome. She's phenomenal. She plays pro hockey still, but she does a lot with our players, just focused on mindset, like whether it's goal setting or whether it's, you know, how to, like, she does this thing where it's like, hey, we're going to do your ESPN top 10 reel, and like gets the kids thinking, like, I want you to visualize your top 10. And so that way, when you're on the ice and you have a bad shift, you have something to come back to and be like, hey, that's not me. What you just saw, I'm better than that. And so like they can bounce back a little quicker. And so, yeah, we do stuff like that all the time. I wish I was a little bit better at it. I think I'm learning a ton from her, because she's awesome. She gets it. She's obviously a super good hockey player, and she just, the mental side of the game is probably just as important, if not more important, than the actual skill side, which is why at Project Hockey, like, and I always go back to, like, when we make decisions for Project Hockey, it's like, what's best for that 12-year-old kid in Phoenix that didn't have anything. So if I would ask my mom, like, can I go to this mental performance coach for $500 a day? She'd be like, no. Get out of here, you'll get a job. But that's why we bring it to these kids all across the world, really. Like, we have like 5 or 6 countries that we have members in now. And it's cool because, I mean, she's in the app interacting with these kids, and it's something that, like you said, it's a high ticket price, but we bring it to these kids for next to nothing. And it's awesome. So I think that's, honestly, it's me just learning from her and taking these tips and tricks. And then also Lindsay Fry, who's
we love Lindsay. She's been on the podcast. She's awesome.
The best. Yeah. So her and I grew up, she's just 2 years younger than me. But yeah, she does a lot of mental performance coaching for our kids as well. And as you know, she's one of the best, and she just got promoted or she's now the color girl for the Coyotes, which is awesome.
I know. And she just got married, and she's like crushing life. Yeah.
Yeah. We talk all the time. She does a lot of coaching stuff for Project Hockey and helps out. I mean, yes, that girl, anytime she jumps at it, and she's always willing to help. And so she actually did a big Zoom call with all of our members and did a just like a mindset thing, because I'm not the best at it, but I'm always the type of person that's like, well, who can we get here to help with this stuff? And Lauren and Lindsay are 2 of the best, in my opinion.
Dynamic duo, Lauren and Lindsay.
L squared.
Yeah. So do you have any go-to pump-up jams for the kids when you're, trying to get them hyped up and practicing, or did you have any go-to jams when you were playing?
Yeah. Our teams were weird. Like, we our pump-up teams, like our victory songs, one year it was like Fergalicious. Like, we listened to that like 10 times a day, it seemed like. And in Des Moines, we had Party in the USA, Miley Cyrus, which was a big hit. That was awesome, but we only got to listen to that when we win. That was our winning song. And so yeah, they didn't let me, I wasn't the DJ a lot. I was always because I would probably just play country music or something easy to do, because I just wasn't too into music. But we used to do this like, man, we were weird, but we used to have a strobe light that we brought with us to every game. This was like on my like my Bantam and Pee Wee and midget team. Like, we would bring a strobe light, we'd have this grapefruit, and we'd find some, like our locker room or some other room, we'd turn on like techno music, and then whoever, like, we'd throw the grapefruit up in the air, and whoever caught it would have to go in the middle and do a crazy dance. And it was like, it went on and on and on and on for a while. And it was, good thing there wasn't a lot of social media or anything back then. That would have been a little bit crazier, but it was fun, and it got us pumped up. It got us excited. I think then one time we lost a few games in a row, and our coach was like, no more of this, but it was fun. It was fun while it lasted. And so, yeah, techno music was good.
Yeah. Any signature dance moves from you?
Oh man. Well, I got a few now, because my daughter, she's invented some pretty crazy ones, but yeah, she's got some names for them, but I was never a big dancer, but I'm getting better. I'd say we put on She's 3 years old, 3.5. Well, she'll let you know she's 3.5, but we concerts almost every night, and it's I'm getting better, I'd say. It's a new
Love
chapter
it.
in my life. So
You're like YouTubing videos, like how to
yeah,
dance
I'll have to
and
record one and send it over to you guys.
Yeah.
you should.
I don't know if I want that out there. No.
It's okay. That can be just like something you keep between you and your.
Yeah.
And your
We might have
daughter.
to we'll mail you a grapefruit, and then you have to have your wife record you like opening up the package.
Well, the
Yeah.
thing was, at the end of that, I guess I should tell the whole story. Whoever the song ended on, you'd have to take a big bite of that thing, skin and all. And so it was like the like let's
Oh.
go boys type of thing. But
Yeah.
hey, whatever it took, we won a lot of
Yeah.
games that year, so it's good.
Yeah.
Grapefruit power. Never
Yeah.
underestimate it, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell me, what were you like? How would you describe yourself as a player when you played? Who were you? What was your role on the team?
I mean, I was a defenseman, but I wasn't very good at D. Like I loved having the puck, and I loved trying to rush and score goals. And I don't know, I was kind of the guy that might have 2 goals in a game, but be a -3. And so that was high risk, high reward, but the reward wasn't always there. But I'd say as like, I don't know, so I was kind of that offensive defenseman that I was lucky enough to be a captain on a lot of my teams, and that type of stuff. Like at the time you don't know it, but I always go back to like, it's setting you up for life and helping you be prepared for the real world. And so, I think kind of that leadership role. And then I was always a fan of, if you have the puck, they can't score. And so just trying to work that way. And I was lucky enough to play with some pretty good hockey players that could keep the puck away and put the puck in the net. So it was fun, but yeah.
How would you describe the next generation of hockey, since you're coaching so many, so you're seeing people of all ages, and you've got, different experts coming into the app that you're working with that are teaching different things, even from when you were playing.
Yeah.
How would you describe that, like this new generation? Because I feel like there's going to be another shift, even from what we're seeing the game from today, even from like 20 years ago.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing about like these new hockey players is they just always ask like why. And so like when I was playing and growing up, when my coach told me to do something, like
You didn't say why.
I was just like, all right, that he knows what he's doing. And so, but now they're like, so I work with some kids in the off season. One, Kyle Loaf, that plays at Bemidji State University. He's always asking like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing? And it's in a really good way. Like he legitimately wants to know. And I think like, as soon as you can connect that, and they're like, okay, I get it. This is why we're doing it. Then you get that buy-in. And so I think this next generation is curious because of just the way the game's going. Like you saw Crosby the other night, try to pick it up on his backhand and score a goal. It's like literally anything is possible in the game of hockey right now. And so it's this next generation they've got a lot of questions. And I think now we're getting to the point where the people who are the coaches now are more willing to answer those questions, where there was kind of a gap where it just wasn't. And so now I think that my generation is getting to the coaching side of things, and we're helping and we're willing to answer those questions. And so I don't know if that answered your question, but I'd say it's these kids are creative. They love going to the rink. They're a special type of hockey player, and it's the product on the ice is phenomenal. Like the National Hockey League right now, the women's leagues are fun to watch, and it's like I'm losing a lot of sleep because of it, because I don't get to bed early enough. I wish I was on California time.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's fun to watch.
What would you say is your favorite hockey moment, whether it was you playing or just watching a game or watching your favorite player?
Wow. Well, favorite hockey moment, I'd say like I probably got 2. Like one was probably playing for JP Parisi. And at the time, like I didn't know, like you didn't know he's going to pass away within the year, but like he had so many different things where like I would be standing in line and I'd like shoot a puck down the rink, and he'd come up and start like yelling at me. And I'd be like, coach, like, why are you yelling at me? I was like, I won't shoot a puck again. I'm sorry. He's like, no, I'm upset because you didn't like try to hit a puck on the ice or try to pass, like try to shoot your puck and hit like a random puck on the ice. Like you should always be trying to do something like that. Which to me is like, coaches need to hear that, because there's a lot of coaches that like look at kids that are like flicking pucks around in line and they're the first ones to say like, knock that off, quit doing that. It's like, geez, when they're just trying to get better. Like it's an opportunity to get better. Like you watch National Hockey League practices, those guys in the lines, they're like working on their craft, they're doing something. Why not let our kids have that creativity? And so I love that. And he also like one day grabbed my stick and he looked at it. He's like, this is garbage. And he's got this crazy accent. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, because at the time I used a very flat curve. And he's like, he put it this way. He's like, you need to learn to pass with a shooter's curve versus learning to shoot with a passer's curve. Because he believed that like those flat ones were good for passing and things like that, but hard to shoot. And so he's like, let's get a bigger hook on that thing and learn to pass with the shooter's curve. And honestly, like I loved it when we changed, because it was like, once you figured out the passing side, your shot was way better. And I mean, nowadays the curves are all over the place, but at the time I was like, it was just cool, those little details that he would just bring up. And the guy loved hockey. And so it was cool to be around. So just that whole experience was awesome. And then playing in the state tournament, it was Arizona state tournament. So I played like my travel hockey, which was like the one that counted, I guess you could say. And then I played high school hockey, which was club on the side. And my brother and I got to play with it. And so got to play together, and he was a junior, I was a sophomore, and we won the state championship that year together. And it was awesome. Like the state tournament, he had 4 assists and 1 goal, and we won like 5-4, I think. And I had 3 goals. One was the game winner.
Not a big deal.
Like it was cool to do that. And then it was really cool. They announced like the tournament or the state MVP, and they said Daryl, my brother's name's Daryl, and they like said his name for a second. They stopped and said, no, Danny Heath. And like, I don't know, he beat me at everything my whole life. I was like, all right, this one's mine. But it was just that whole experience, like with my mom, and it was cool. Like that was the coolest hockey game I ever played in. And it was this like, I mean, there's a lot of people, I mean, for Arizona high school hockey, there's a lot of people there, and it was, yeah, something I'll never forget. And it was cool because I got to play with my brother, and we didn't play a ton. I mean, we did, but not like that. So it was cool to have that experience.
I love that in hockey there's so many different ways to have these epic moments and memories that aren't just achieving the Stanley Cup. Like right. That moment with your brother and like the goals and having like all of that. I think, I don't think it's just about the Stanley Cup, because there's so many great ways to play hockey today, and coming up there's so many talented players from high school all the way through, that will never make it into the NHL just because there's not enough physical space for it. But I think it's great to hear that there's an opportunity to have those incredible moments, not just lifting the cup.
Yeah, absolutely. There's only so many people that get a crack at the NHL, and then there's very few that even get to win that thing. And so it's, yeah, I mean, I always go back to like, what can you do for hockey and what can hockey do for you? And if you take care of the game, it's gonna help you out in so many ways. And yeah, I mean, I'm living proof of that. And so it's a special game. I can't say that enough.
If you could choose any current player to win the Stanley Cup, who would you choose? Like, who do you think is most deserving of it?
I mean, probably Patrick Marleau. I think that guy deserves a cup. I think Joe Thornton deserves a cup. I think those guys would be cool. We got to sit down and talk with Patrick Marleau, and it was just that guy's, he's literally the greatest human being on this earth, and so he deserves a cup. I know he's got some gold medals, which is awesome, but yeah, that guy deserves a cup for sure.
What did he have to
agree with that?
Yeah, sorry. What did he have to say about? Was it in regards to training? that you were talking to him, or like just personally?
No, just just on another podcast.
Oh,
So
cool.
I do a podcast as well, the Let's Go Hockey podcast. Love to have you guys on as well. But it's yeah, we got to just sit down and have a conversation with him, and like
Wow.
that guy's story is something that's like it's crazy. Like he growing up, he like lived on a farm and just that's how he got stronger. As I don't even he's nuts, but he just he's always willing to help, and he's like. I mean, the way like he spoke about when he was on the Leafs and he spoke about Matthews and Marner, it's like this guy is literally the salt of the earth, and he's done so much for the game of hockey, and obviously he's gotten a lot from it. It's been his life the last like 150 years, it seems like, and so
Yeah.
he deserves that. He deserves that cup, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hopefully he gets it, but I'd like him to be maybe traded to the Wild, and then he got it.
Yeah, that would definitely help the morale there in Minnesota with the championships. Yeah. What other like pro, both current or former players have you either worked with or had on the podcast that really like stood out to you, either in a substantial way like him, or in a funny way, or something unexpected?
And there's a few. I mean, I'd say like Teddy Blueger, who plays for the Penguins. He's an old college teammate of mine. And he was on our, I mean, he's the guy that like, every time I ask him, like, can you come, he did a Q&A with our Project Hockey members, like a very personal one. And it was cool. Like when we hung up, I got emails from our members and saying like my kid he lives in Calgary. He's never talked to an NHL hockey player, and he literally got to sit down and talk to an NHL hockey player live in person for 45 minutes. And Teddy did an awesome job and like answered everyone's questions. And then when we had to get off, there were still questions. He had all the kids email him and he answered them again. And it's like,
Wow.
this guy who like, I mean, he's awesome. He's tearing it up this year. He's like 4th on the team in points right now for the Penguins. And he's great. But I think like just the way he works and that guy's story and how he went from, he's from Latvia, and he played at Shattuck, and now he's doing awesome things, and I just can't say enough good things about him. And he's one of a kind for sure. Plus he's a Minnesota State University Maverick, which can't go wrong with. But yeah, I'd say he's doing the right things, and he's getting rewarded for it right now. He's starting to really find his groove and making a living out of it.
I think Breezy, I think Danny might have a answer to one of our final questions.
Uh-oh.
I think so.
Yeah.
Should we jump into it? Should I ask that question first,
more?
actually?
I think you should, since we're talking about the Penguins.
Okay, well, we're going to stay on the Penguins side of it. So we ask 3 questions at the end of every single podcast, no matter who it is. And we just decided to throw this in there because it's not that we were sick of hearing Sidney Crosby stories, but like it was just a common occurrence. We're like, why? Let's just ask. So do you have a Sidney Crosby story?
Do I have a Sidney Crosby story? Not a personal one.
Darn,
but Teddy,
I was wrong.
Yeah,
Teddy would.
Teddy has a couple, and he just like the way he talks about him. And like, so in their locker room before the games, they'll have just clips playing of the other team over and over and over again on the locker room. And like he says that Sidney is just glued to the screen, and he'll be like, Teddy, did you see that? And Teddy will be like, what? No, what are you talking about? He's like, that goalie, every time that puck goes behind the net, there's like a 1/4 of an inch that comes off his pad that you have a clear like zone to shoot it into. And it's like, so it's like those little things that he has that obviously why he's the best player in the NHL. And so people have said before, if there's a league above the NHL, he'd be in it. Probably with him and McDavid, and that's probably it. But it's maybe Matthews too, our Arizona boy. But it's yeah, no personal ones. I bumped into him a few times, but nothing too crazy.
Nothing too crazy. Just bumped into the Crosby eye.
Stay out of that guy's way for sure. But I mean, he does things the right way, and that's why.
Right.
Yeah.
That's who he is.
And that's why we asked that question on the podcast, because everybody just has a story, a wonderful story about him. It's it's always a positive thing.
For sure.
So who's your favorite hockey hunk?
Hockey hunk. That's a tough question. I guess he doesn't play anymore, but Shane Doan, I was always just a big fan of that guy. He's probably the best looking guy in the world. He's like,
What are you, biz nasty? Like,
yeah, he loves
just loves the donor.
Yeah, no, but so growing up in Phoenix, like when I was playing junior hockey, the Coyotes were in town. I got to skate with a few of them, like in their preseason camps. And so like got to know him a little bit and skate with him. And like, he's awesome. Like just sitting on the bench, like you ask him any question. And one day we're sitting there and I was like, hey, who's the hardest player to play against the NHL? And he's like, he said Nick Lindstrom, and I was like, oh yeah, well that makes sense. Like, no, not for the reason you're thinking, not because he's Nick Lindstrom. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, because I'll play against him and he'll be matched up with my line all night. I'll get done with the game. I won't feel tired. I won't feel bruised. I won't feel hit. I won't feel anything, but I feel like I did nothing the entire game. And he's like, just the way Lindstrom shuts you down and like his stick position, he's like, you literally can't do a thing out there against that guy. And he's like, I just did not like playing against him because it was just like you felt like a 2-year-old boy out there, he said. And it's like, it's cool. And so when you're one of the best to play, when Shane Doan, you're talking about people like that, he's got some humility to him, and it's yeah. And so that just added to his hunkness, I guess, for sure. But yeah.
That's a good one. And who's your favorite hockey lady?
Hockey lady? Probably got to be Lindsay Fry. She's up there. She's phenomenal. Maddie, who does a lot of stuff with Project Hockey. I don't know. They're like Maddie, Lindsay, Lauren. They're just the type of girls that are like, how can I help? And it's like, well, we want to like help, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, how can I just help? Like, you tell me what I can do. And they're like, they never worry about anything else except for helping kids. And it's like, we got to get those stories out there more. And so that's a big part of our company, is we're trying to help promote and get that out there. And I mean, you're looking at 3 unbelievable hockey players, and it's yeah, but I'd probably say Lindsay right now, especially just getting married, Arizona gal. She gets it for sure.
Did you say you grew up with her?
Yeah. So she played like 2 years behind me, but the Arizona hockey world, like it's a small world. And so it's, yeah, she's right around that era. So.
Oh yeah, fun. That's so fun. I think
Yeah.
that's cooler than playing in the backyard with Austin Matthews. So
Yeah. Absolutely. She was always better than all of us though. So it was tough to play, but yeah, it was cool. We had a lot of good hockey players come out of that era, and it was fun.
Well, first of all, thank you for coming on here. And, you guys are doing great things with Project Hockey. So let everyone know where they can keep up with you and where they can, sign up for Project Hockey.
Sure. Yeah. It's just Project Hockey on all social channels. It's projecthockey.com. And always reach out. And I mean, we're always doing awesome stuff with associations, and we've partnered with a lot of different people. We've partnered with the Arizona Coyotes, and we run their virtual hockey school. We've, like I said, we're working with a ton of youth hockey associations. We teamed up with ice hockey in Harlem, and we've donated a bunch of memberships to that program, and they're a phenomenal group to work with. And it's really cool. Like, it started off in southern Minnesota, and now like I said, we've got members in Saudi Arabia, Japan, China, Germany, Switzerland, Canada, California. It's cool. And I think it's because we're doing things the right way. And it's not my full-time job. I don't plan on doing it for a living. I just plan on giving back to the game as much as we can. And so if you got ideas, if people are listening and how we can help, like, we'd love to help our network, help yours. And so it's more about how we can help versus how we can make any type of money off it. And so absolutely reach out. It's like I said, Project Hockey, and my Instagram's Danny Hype, 25,000 followers. No, I'm just kidding. It's check us out.
Please don't tell me your nickname is Danny Hype.
That's a different story though, but it is Danny Hype, but it's because I used to, well, I still kind of do. I MC for some like CrossFit competitions. So I get on the microphone and like yell at people working out for a while, and they called me the hype man, Danny Hype. And I changed it on my Instagram, like probably 6 years ago, before I was even posting anything on there. And then,
That's funny.
Is that what the kids at school call you, like in your day job? Like, are they like, Coach Hype,
Coach Hype,
hype us up?
man.
Do they really call you that or no?
Yeah, oh yeah. It's especially in the hockey world, people give me a lot of crap for it, but it's can't change it now. I just own it.
Thanks for coming over to our House of Hockey podcast and hanging out with us. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. And in the meantime, you can follow us on social media. Just look for House of Hockey podcast. We'll be back next week.